Layered news broadcast fragments in English, Farsi, Arabic, Hebrew, and Mandarin. The world is holding its breath. From the newsrooms in New York to the bunkers in Tehran, from the intelligence corridors of Jerusalem to the diplomatic backchannels of Beijing, the consensus is the same. We are standing on the edge of something no living generation has ever seen. Military analysts are calling it a tactical masterpiece. Historians are calling it a geopolitical earthquake. Theologians, a small, quiet group who've been watching these exact coordinates for decades, are calling it something else entirely. They're calling it on time. On February 28, 2026, the world watched as a precision decapitation strike eliminated the highest levels of Iranian leadership. The supreme leader, the Revolutionary Guard commanders, the architects of 47 years of the Islamic Republic's foreign aggression, in a single night. News cycles erupted, stock markets trembled, world leaders made emergency phone calls. But in a small group of Bible study circles from Lagos to Los Angeles, from Seoul to São Paulo, a different conversation was happening. People were opening their Bibles to dog-eared pages they'd been studying for years, and they were whispering, "This is it. This is the page." Daniel 8, written approximately 550 BC. That's 2,576 years ago. Today we are not just looking at headlines. We are looking at a divine itinerary, a map drawn before the first Roman centurion ever picked up a sword, a script authored before the Persian Empire had risen to its full power. And in this video, we are going to decode, systematically, historically, and with full intellectual honesty, 3 specific signs that prove we are living in the final act of a story written in the ancient hills of Judea. The first sign, the breaking of the ram. The second sign, the roster of nations. The third sign, the throne in Elam. If you've never studied Bible prophecy before, stay with me. Because what you are about to see is not a conspiracy theory. It is not cherry-picked data. It is history, ancient and modern, colliding in real time, in your lifetime, on your newsfeed. Daniel 8:4. I watched the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could stand before him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand. The angel Gabriel, appearing later in the same chapter, gives Daniel the interpretation in plain language. The ram represents the kings of Media and Persia. 2 power centers, 2 horns, 1 empire, dual-headed, and the aggression is directional, west, north, south, remarkably specific. Now let's transpose that image onto a modern satellite map. For 47 years, the Islamic Republic of Iran built what geopolitical strategists called the Shia Crescent, a network of proxy forces, funded militias, and allied regimes extending in exactly 3 directions: west through Hezbollah into Lebanon and Syria, south through the Houthi movement into Yemen and across the Red Sea, north through strategic military and intelligence partnerships extending into the Caucasus and Russia, west, north, south. That is not a coincidence. That is a signature. Daniel 8:7. He struck the ram and shattered his 2 horns, and the ram had no strength to stand before him. He threw him to the ground and trampled him. The angel interprets, the goat is a great king from the west. History tells us this was Alexander the Great, who fulfilled this prophecy in 331 BC, when he destroyed the Persian Empire in one of the most rapid military campaigns in ancient history. But here is where careful prophecy students pause and ask a deeper question. Does Daniel's vision have layers? Does the ancient pattern, like so much Hebrew prophecy, carry a double fulfillment? A near fulfillment in Alexander and a far fulfillment in our time. Consider what happened on February 28, 2026. A strike, precise, technologically overwhelming, coming from the west, targeted the apex of Iranian power, the foremost horn. the military and religious leadership of the Islamic Republic. Jeremiah 49:35. Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the foremost of their might. The foremost of their might. The military vanguard. The tip of the spear. In 2026, that is exactly what was targeted. Not infrastructure. Not oil fields. The foremost of their might. The command structure. One coincidence is a curiosity, but when the geography, the direction, the nature of the strike, and the identity of the targeted power all align with a text written 5 centuries before Christ, we are no longer in the territory of coincidence. We are in the territory of authorship. The second sign is, in some ways, even more stunning than the first, because it involves not one nation, not one prophecy, but a specific coalition of nations that the prophet Ezekiel named, in sequence, approximately 2,600 years ago. The book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39, contains one of the most detailed and debated passages in all prophetic literature. God speaks to a figure called Gog, of the land of Magog, and tells him that in the latter days he will lead a great coalition of nations against the mountains of Israel. Ezekiel gives us the roster, and it is precise. Ezekiel 38:2-6, Magog, Persia, Cush, Put, Gomer, Beth Togarmah. Each ancient name corresponds to a modern nation or region. Let's take each name and apply the standard tools of historical linguistic scholarship, the same tools that secular archaeologists and historians use to identify the modern nations. Magog. In ancient Semitic geography, Magog refers to the lands to the far north of Israel. The Jewish historian Josephus identified Magog with the Scythians, the peoples of the Russian steppes. In modern prophetic scholarship, the overwhelming consensus points to Russia, and Ezekiel 38:15 specifies, from the far north. If you draw a line due north from Jerusalem on a globe, it passes directly through Moscow, Persia. This one requires no scholarship. Persia was the ancient name for the land that, in 1935, officially changed its name to Iran. The same geography, the same people, the same ancient identity. Cush. In the ancient world, Cush referred to the lands south of Egypt, modern Sudan, Ethiopia, and parts of East Africa. The region is currently experiencing extraordinary geopolitical realignment across the Horn of Africa. Put. Ancient Put corresponds to modern Libya. Libya's factions are increasingly drawn into the orbit of the powers Ezekiel named, Gomer and Beth Togarmah. Gomer corresponds to ancient Sumerian territories, modern Turkey, and parts of Central Asia. Beth Togarmah refers to the Caucasus region and Turkic peoples. Turkey's NATO membership has masked a dramatic pivot toward the geopolitical interests of Russia and Iran. 5 nations. One ancient list. Aligned today. Here is what makes this sign so extraordinary, and so difficult to dismiss. These nations share no common language. They have centuries of historical conflict with each other. Russia and Turkey fought a dozen wars. Iran and the Arab world have deep ethnic and sectarian divisions. There is no obvious natural reason these nations should be coordinating. Yet in 2025 and 2026, they are running joint naval exercises in the Caspian Sea. They are sharing drone technology. They are building alternative financial systems to bypass Western sanctions. They are coordinating diplomatic positions at the United Nations. The roster that Ezekiel wrote, in a scroll in Babylon, in the 6th century BC, is full. Every seat at the table is occupied. This is not a theory. This is a convergence. The third sign is the most unexpected, and for millions of people, it is the most personally significant. When the leadership of the Islamic Republic fell in a single night, the world watched for what would fill the vacuum. Analysts spoke of political succession. Generals spoke of deterrence. Economists spoke of oil prices. But Jeremiah, who was writing at the same time as Daniel, roughly 2,600 years ago, had already answered the question. I will set my throne in Elam, not a political throne, not a military throne. The text is speaking about the throne of God's presence, his active, redemptive work in a specific geography. And here is the data that no secular news outlet is reporting. Iran currently has the fastest growing Christian population of any nation on earth. For 47 years, the Islamic Republic spent billions of dollars and enormous political capital attempting to eradicate Christian faith from Iranian society. Pastors were imprisoned, Bibles were confiscated, churches were demolished, converts faced the death penalty. The result? The opposite of what the regime intended. Missiologists, the scholars who study the movement and growth of world Christianity, have documented an extraordinary phenomenon. When external Christianity is forcibly removed, internal Christianity often explodes. The underground church in Iran has grown by estimates ranging from 1,100% to over 5,000% in the last 40 years. And perhaps most striking of all, across Iran, across Iraq, across the broader Muslim world, there is an unprecedented documented phenomenon of people reporting dreams. Dreams of a man in white. Dreams of Jesus. In regions where Bibles are banned. In provinces where no missionary has ever set foot. In homes where the name of Christ was never spoken aloud. Dreams. Jeremiah's prophecy says, "In the latter days, I will bring back the captives of Elam." This is not the language of geopolitics. This is the language of redemption, of homecoming, of a people who were captured by ideology, by fear, by a system imposed on them, being released. The throne God is setting in Elam is not in Tehran's parliament. It is in the hearts of millions of Iranian men and women who are discovering, through dreams, through underground networks, through smuggled New Testaments, that the story written about them 2,600 years ago includes their liberation. Every drumbeat, every milestone, every headline. We have now looked at three specific signs, three converging lines drawn across 2,500 years of history, geography, and geopolitics. The breaking of the ram, a decapitation strike in the exact geography, ancient Elam, that Jeremiah and Daniel both named, targeting the exact element, the foremost of their might, that the texts specified. The roster of nations. 5 ancient names from a 6th century BC scroll now correspond to 5 real nations, in active and unprecedented alliance, in real time. The throne in Elam, a spiritual revolution happening invisibly, inside the borders of the very nation the prophecy named, producing the fastest growing Christian population on earth. Ezekiel 38 and 39 describe what follows the coalition's advance. The text says, God himself intervenes, with earthquake, fire, brimstone, and confusion among the armies. The coalition is supernaturally broken on the mountains of Israel. Zechariah 12 describes the nations of the world surrounding Jerusalem, and God defending the city in a way that leaves no room for alternate explanation. And Zechariah 14, the final act of the final prophet's final chapter, contains the most dramatic sentence in all prophetic literature. His feet, not a metaphor, not a symbol. Feet. The story that began before Rome, before Greece, before the Persian Empire. The story that Daniel saw by the Ulai Canal in the ancient land of Elam ends not with a world war. It ends with an arrival. The question is personal, intimate, and urgent. Are you ready for the return of the king?
Before you close this video, one thing. I want to know what you are seeing. Drop a comment below. Which of the 3 signs hit you hardest? The breaking of the ram, the roster of nations, or the throne in Elam, the secret church growing inside Iran right now? If this video added value to your understanding of what's happening in our world, share it with one person. One person who is watching the news and feeling like the world is spinning out of control. Because it's not spinning out of control. It is moving, precisely, according to an ancient plan. Subscribe and hit the bell. We are going to decode the next chapter together. The events of Ezekiel 38 and 39. The identity of Gog, and what the convergence of these nations means for the next 12 to 24 months. The scroll is open. The chapter is turning. Stay close.
Multilingual news anchor fragments layered, English, Farsi, Arabic, Hebrew, Mandarin, crackling breaking news montage.
This is it. This is the page.
Drop a comment below. Which of the three signs hit you hardest? Subscribe and hit the bell.